Alright, here we go with the driving end of advanced stuff. And I worked with Mark with Yolandro. He got him. He was pretty messed up. He lost all his performance. And so I come over there and helped him. We started working with his head, getting his head down. And the same thing as you see me do with my horse and this colt that I started this morning. So it all basically goes back to the same. You can see us dropping his head. You can see his arched neck. You can see him walking. And well, he's prancing now, but you really want him to get the walking first. But he's been really he's had a lot of stuff going wrong with him over the years. So Mark's done a really good job getting him back. And here again, we want to work on those shoulders, that neck. Keep his hind end underneath him. Like there, he's almost side passing there just a little bit. As you can see where Mark's standing, that's where you want to stand when you're working on the left side of the horse. You want to be able to move your hands back and forth just a little bit so you get control over the hind end and the front end. So you can see right there, if you had a rein on him, he couldn't bring his neck down. He couldn't arc his neck like that. You couldn't tip his nose down. He'd be locked up all along there, and that's why he was when we first started working with him. So, and I think one of the first things that was the coolest thing about this horse when I seen him really come around is part there where his withers were. The most impressive thing that I've seen on him, he just flipped those withers back about 2 inches or so, which brought that head straight up, that neck straight up in the air. So that's what you really want to get when you're looking at an advanced horse. It's not that getting them scared is not a pretty sight. Getting them trained is a great thing to see. So you can see the athletic ability of this horse. He's just flexible all the way through. But you can also mess that all up by getting him too hyped up, and I think they used a whip on him and stuff. So so he's really been pushed pretty hard. He's really soft, and here you can see with the shank bit. We didn't start with the shank bit. We started with the regular snaffle bit, and then we moved to a shank bit. I think he's got basically a broken piece in there, and that helps him turn. In driving, you don't really necessarily want a solid piece in there, because when you pull on one rein or the other, there's not a lot of give there. So I think you have a broken piece in there, right, Mark? Yeah. So you can see the left rein is flexing in there. So that's what we really look for. So this is for refining. It's not for training. It's not for a horse that wants to run away. So, but go ahead and can you speed him up a little bit? And we'll start seeing his shoulders start moving. And you see me what I did with that 3-year-old this morning, with the point of the shoulders. We want to start seeing that leg, the front leg, not going behind the point of the shoulder much. Okay? They need to be lifting before that leg gets behind the shoulders, so where they start running in front of themselves and not behind. And you can't get that by tying their head up. So you got to have them flexible. You got to have them bent. And this is a great exercise too, is to be able to get them to move slow and move up, speed up and stay slow, stay relaxed. This is what we're really trying to get at. So I think he's been a fun horse for Mark, and he's had him. He's done a pretty good job with him. So, are you guys ready to hook him up in the cart?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead and hook him up, and then we'll drive him, and hopefully we can get some good action out of him. I think they just got him reshod, and I don't know if it's they didn't have the normal shoer do it. So, and the ground out here is not the best, so we'll try to do what we can with him. I think you all know this horse anyway. So. I might go help him. I think Mark's just been getting him back in the training, so he had him off for a little while, so he's feeling pretty good. But also there, as you notice when he was standing there, he tightened up his neck, and I just started to pull it down. He's a pretty intimidating horse. He's nice and big, got that long neck. But there again, you gotta stay nice and quiet, tell him what to do. So I think he's got a lot of energy right now, and but you can just see the same thing that we've all worked on, what Daryl was working on, what I did. It's all based on the same stuff. It's all based on that front inside leg, and it moves on throughout the body. So you can go ahead and do just perform a little bit. And rock your hands back and forth, get them nice and soft. And here with him, you got to be a little careful because you don't want to tap him too hard because he does get a little excited. But you want to tap him just a little bit. I remember the first time we got him to perform. It was really cool. We got him up a little bit out here in the lane, and he was just running like a regular buggy horse. And then, no offense to the buggy horses, but you're not trying to perform with them either. But he come up a little bit, and then he just didn't really he didn't break loose or nothing. And then the second time we did it, we went around again. We pulled him back down. We slowed him down because he tried. And then we came back around and we did it again. He just didn't really have it. He come up a little bit. He started performing just a little bit. I kept telling Mark, I said, keep going. I said, keep rocking your hands back and forth, tap him just a little bit. And all of a sudden, you can see the eggshells fall off this horse. I mean, he just broke loose. His withers fell back, and he just come alive. And I told Mark to stop right away. We went a couple strides and we quit. The key thing there was a relax. A quit is quitting with him was a release. So every time he does a little bit right things, I mean, he's where he can stay in it now a little more. It's going to be tough for him out here. He's pulling a little harder, and the ground's not really the best. So it's going to be a little tougher for him. But as soon as they do the right thing, you got to quit. You got to release. Make the wrong thing difficult and the right thing easy. So this stuff don't happen overnight. It takes a long time to get them where they need to be. So, and you can see the foot placing. He's very, very cautious of his feet. He doesn't step on himself. He moves that leg over where it needs to be. And you can see the different, starting with that horse this morning, this is what I was really talking about. You don't want them leaning in on the shafts. You want them to be able to move their feet around. There was a couple really nice strides there where he just started breaking loose in the shoulders. So he's still a little tight, and you can see that he doesn't really have, right there's a couple of them where he's really breaking loose. So you want that you need to work with them. You can't just go and think that they're just going to be that way. A horse ain't just that way. You got to teach him. Right there, there's a nice couple moves there. And I'm sure Mark is releasing that and feeling that too. As soon as he gets a little bit, he's going to release a little bit. So you want to stay in that. And like I said earlier, keep your hands moving. You can't hang on to these horses and get them to perform like they should. You can start seeing them getting a little more relaxed and staying in there a little bit better. You see the point of the shoulders. You see the withers. Watch that stuff. That's important. Very important. Okay, the action looks cool, but it doesn't start there. It starts with the withers. Then you can get the hind end underneath them where it needs to be. Actually, I would like to see him get his hind end a little bit more to where he'd have a little more lift up in the hind end. But he's come a long way. So that stuff is things that can be improved later on. You can see him just flexible in his shoulders. But you can't have that if you got this neck and everything too tight. Right there. See that point of that shoulder lifting up, that left one. That right one still needs to come up a little bit and help it out there. So there was a little bit of a rock in his withers. He tried on that right one. That right side might be just a little tight in the neck and everything to where it's not really coming up. So and sometimes it's which way you're going. Sometimes you have your hand, the horse's head, to the inside, and it looks like they're not reaching as much on the opposite side, because the inside of your neck, the left side, might be a little not as tight as the right side, so you have a little more break on the one side than the other. So sometimes, you know, he might not be as soft on the right side, where he's not free on that shoulder. You see that a lot. I see it with riding too. If you're going in a circle or stuff like that, I like to work in circles. You can really get a horse working good in a circle. I know a lot of people say, "Oh no, Marty's out there training because he's going in circles all the time." I have a reason for that. Is this here, is moving that right leg. Okay? He starts reaching with it and keeping his head down and in. Like there, his whole face could tip just a little bit. Okay? But that's the idea of it, is getting that soft, getting that relaxed in. And you can see almost the problem right there is that's why he wasn't quite as reaching as high with that right leg, is because that head is still tilted to the left just a little bit. His neck's over, but his eyes and his whole attention is a little bit to the opposite side. So that's a little bit of some of that stuff can be we can barely see it, but a horse is just a little off on that looking. Now you can see on this side, he's actually looking this way, and his head is tilted, and this is the side that he actually had a little more lift to it. So that can be a big difference. It don't look like a lot, but it can be a big difference. Those are the type of things we really look for. So, but it's beautiful if you really get into it. If you really want to drive a horse up in the lines, drive him with your pinkies, not wrapping your hands around them. You can. I don't want to offend nobody, but that's not really driving. You're just hanging on to something. Might as well go wrap a rope around the post and hang on to it. But no, that's it. I mean, if you get that feel, you get that horses in there right in your hands. That's fun. It's a lot of fun. So when I've had horses where they were pulling your hands off, and by the time I was done with them, I was driving with my pinky. And some of them, one that Reuben Schrock gave me one time, I just couldn't get that one done. Yeah, inside hind leg. I like that to reach up to. And you can see that's a little bit of a problem here. But you know, he's been there and done it, and he's made a big name of himself. But some of that stuff there can be improved. He's just not really reaching with that inside hind. But it also comes with this inside front. Okay, it doesn't start back there. Everybody wants to look at that hind end and say that hind end needs to go underneath. Needs to drive underneath, and that's why people want to take a whip and tap them and pull on them. That's not necessarily true. You got to get this front end out of the way first, then they can start getting that hind end underneath them. So the hind end will come. It's the front end that needs to start and get out of the way first. You can almost see where he's not even stepping in front of his stifle there. I mean, there he goes. There he goes. You know, so a lot of that stuff is but you can also see the head and really tipped in like it should be. It's a lot better than it was. So, and like I said, Mark, I don't think he's been driving him much. I think about a week ago he started driving him again. So, but that will help him get all fours up at the same time. Good? Alright. Alright, that's your Landro. That's the driving end of it. And it all based on the same thing as you would with riding. So, I think Mark said he's done. And I wish he'd be shot a little better. And with the footing out here is just not ideal for a lot of advanced stuff for whether you're riding or driving. So,